Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. Usually I go live on Wednesdays, but it is spring break for my kids, so it just wasn't going to be possible this week. But I still have an adorable little treat to share with you. This cute little Easter box is going to be the perfect addition to any Easter basket this year. Look how adorable those little bunnies are. I cannot stand it. It is so cute. I love this kind of like fancy little topper that we have on this box. It's a really simple one to make. It's not one that I'm going to make for a lot of people because it's kind of big. The coloring and fussy cutting do take a little bit of time. So it's not one that I'm going to make for 100 people, but for a few special people, I think I would definitely make these. Before we get started though, if you are shopping my online store, please head to my online store, use this host code. If your order's over $150, don't use the host code. You'll receive some extra rewards this month. And make sure that while you're in my online store, you check out the online exclusives. If you want to subscribe for Paper Pumpkin, there's also a link in the video description. You can do all of that. It is my 20th anniversary with Stampin' Up, so I'm giving away some extra little perks this month. You can check out the video description for all the details on that as well. Let's start with our box. We're going to make our little polished pink box. Now, I will tell you, polished pink is in color that is retiring this year. With the color refresh, I don't know for sure if it will retire. I mean, sometimes they bring back in colors, but it is scheduled to retire. And I think that their ink pad is on low inventory, so I think the chances are good that we're going to lose polished pink, which really hurts my heart. I love polished pink. Okay, I had to pull out my measurements, so they're off to the side. Okay, you're going to start with a full sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This takes a full sheet of cardstock, but it's totally worth it. But like I said, you're probably not going to want to make a bunch of these for 100 people, but some very special people, maybe grandkids or siblings or whoever is special in your life, you can make this. On the short side, the 8.5 inch side, we are going to score 1.5 on each side. So score down on 1.5, flip it all the way over to the other 8.5 inch side and score 1.5. See them on each side. All right, let's turn it to the 11 inch side and we are going to score it at 1, 1 3/4, 4 3/4, 6 1/4, 9 1/4, and 10. Now I know that's a lot of measurements. They are all in the video description, so you can check those out. You don't have to write them all down. So check them out in the video description, or you can check my blog. The link is in the video description as well to head to my blog. Okay, let's go ahead and fold and burnish on each of the score lines. This is a really important step for box making because it really just helps your boxes go together much easier. It gives them nice crisp lines, so it's really an important step you don't want to skip. So go ahead and go through, use your bone folder, burnish on all the score lines. Bone folders are pretty inexpensive, so they're a good tool to have. All right, let's talk about the stamp set that we're going to use on this box real quick because I know I'm going to get some questions on this. We are using the Easter Bunny stamp set. This is in our mini catalog. There is a coordinating punch for this little bunny down here, the little, the one on all 4 paws. That punch is currently not available. It has kind of gone in and out of availability for the whole time that we've had the mini catalog. It is an extremely popular punch. Let me tell you what we're going to do, and then we'll get back to the punch. I'm going to cut out the rectangles from all 4 of the corners. There's 2 little rectangles on each of the corners. We're going to cut all 4 of those off. So I'm going to do that while I keep talking about that bundle. So the punch is currently not supposed to be back in stock until May. So if you want that punch, you're going to have to wait until May for it. But the stamp set is still available. I think people assume that if the punch goes unavailable, you obviously cannot get the bundle. And then they assume that you can't get the stamp set either. The stamp set you can still get. And the punch is only going to punch out one of the little bunnies. And it's not even the bunny that we're going to use on this project anyway. So if you love the stamp set, I would still encourage you to consider getting the stamp set, and then you can get the punch later when it becomes in stock. I love the little bunnies in this one, and I think they're super cute. But again, that punch is only going to punch out one of them, and you'll still have to fussy cut the other ones or stamp them on circles or whatever. And you know, you're only going to still get that one punch. So the stamp set is still completely useful, so don't discount that stamp set just because the punch is unavailable. Okay, so we've cut out all 4 of those corners. I hope I was on camera for that. I honestly am not sure I was. All right, now we have 2 squares in the middle here, and we're going to go ahead and cut those. So we're going to cut up the score lines. We're going to cut straight up on this rectangle side on both sides. So let's cut straight up. I'm going to fold those out of the way, and then we're just going to notch these in. Fold this one up so I don't accidentally nick it, and we're going to notch these in. So this just helps our boxes go together a little bit easier. If your cutting is not straight, which mine is often not straight, this will help it be disguised that it is. So straight up those score lines, and we're just going to notch in. All right, now if you wanted to do any stamping or decorating to the box itself, you can do that before we start assembling it. You can even do it before you score it if you wanted to do any stamping. I'm keeping my box super simple. We are even only decorating the front. If you wanted to add a little message, you can add another little panel to the back here and write a little message to your recipient. Yeah, I didn't even show you guys what was inside, huh? We'll get to that in just a minute. But this is our box so far. We're actually going to assemble it here. Let me grab my adhesive. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal Plus. And at this point, it's symmetrical. Each side is symmetrical, so it doesn't matter what side you choose for what. So I'm just going to choose one side to be the front, and I'm going to add adhesive to this tab on this side and on this side. This is a big box, so it's hard to get in camera. And then I'm going to add adhesive to these little square tabs as well. Okay, so this is like the inside of the box. It's going to fold up like this. I put the adhesive on the inside. All right, these little tabs, we're going to line up this score line with this cut edge. So just kind of fold it up and just adhere that. We're putting the tabs on the outside of this piece because that's going to sandwich those tabs in the middle. And then on the inside, it's going to be completely clean. You're not going to have a tab to get caught on our tree inside. Okay, so fold this over, and that is basically your box. Now this little piece is going to fold up like this. This little piece is going to fold up like this. And I just remembered in my corner rounder, we should have done this ahead of time before we assembled it, but I think we'll be okay because this is there's tall sides on this box, so I can get in there with my corner rounder. We don't currently sell a corner rounder, so use whatever you normally use for rounding corners. If you need to do it before you assemble it, make sure you do that. All right, we'll get all those little scraps out of the way. And this is basically our box. Isn't that cute? Let's do one more thing before we get to assembling it. Let me grab a pencil. We're gonna make some holes for our ribbon. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to just measure this. Let me lay this like this, hold it like this. I'm gonna come in 2 inches from the left. I'm just gonna put a dot. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then 2 inches from the right, so that'd be 3.5. So I'm just doing tiny little dots, just as little guides. And let me put that out of the way. And I'm gonna come in with a hole punch, and I'm gonna hold these together. We're gonna punch them together so the holes line up. This is just a 1/4 inch hole punch. We're just going to punch through both of them all at once, just like that, okay? All right, let's put our treat inside. I have, in my little box here, let me pull these over. I found these at one of my local Dollar Generals here. Whoops, this one's upside down. So these are the Easter basket, Little Debbie Easter basket cakes. They come in vanilla or chocolate. You can get either one. They're the same size, so they will fit in either box, whichever one you choose. So I'm gonna throw a vanilla one in this box because, let's see, which one's my front? I want my little cake to be in the front. Because I have a chocolate one in here, so now I have a vanilla one. Perfect, ready to go, one of each. All right, let's tie our box up and then we will get to decorating it. I am using the threaded twine. This is, it's really rustic. It's kind of like crumb cakey, but it's got some like silver thread through it. So it's very, very fun, very pretty. You can use whatever ribbon you have. All right, I'm gonna just cut off a little bit of this. And we're just gonna tie this into a bow. So let's tie a knot first, and then we'll tie a little bow. This will keep our box closed. And I kind of like the rusticness of this, but you have another ribbon. I think other ribbons that would look really good, that white frayed ribbon I think would be really pretty. I didn't have enough of that for 2 boxes, so I'm gonna go with this one, but I think this one's really fun too. So that's your basic box. So from here you can do whatever you want, but we're gonna do some stamping. So I'm gonna move my notes out of the way. So we'll pull this in. We're gonna do some stamping. Let's stamp our little bunnies. I'm going to do that with my Stamparatus, and I already have them on here. So I have the 2 bunnies that I'm going to need, and then I have the little floral image and the eggs on here. So I already have everything ready to go in my Stamparatus. So we're going to ink this up with Memento. We're going to color these with Stampin Blends. So use Memento when you're inking. And let's go ahead and close this. Give this a good press. And I think I'm going to have to do it again, especially the little flower. And we can get some darker blacks by doing it again. So this is one of the great things with the Stamparatus. You can get exact placement, do it again, and you get nice dark lines. Okay, oh, perfect. So let's pull this off. We are going to color these little images. Aren't they sweet? Okay, now I already have them all colored off to the side here. So we're not gonna color them completely, but I do wanna go over kind of what I did. So let's start with this little bunny here. We are going to use Smoky Slate for him. So I'm gonna start with my Smoky Slate Light. I'm gonna use my brush tip. I hardly ever use my brush tip. And actually, I take that back. We're gonna start with Petal Pink. So let me grab my Petal Pink. I have a whole bunch of Stampin' Blends off to the side here. Now, however you wanna color these is perfectly fine. You do you, of course. So I'm gonna take my dark Petal Pink. I'm going to do the bottom of the inside of his ear, and I'm going to do his little cheek, just like that. I'm going to take my light Petal Pink, and I'm just going to kind of blend up the top of his ear, like that. Okay, now we're going to come in with the Smoky Slate, and I'm going to use my brush end. I'm going to start around his little nose. I'm not going to do his whole face, just pretty much from his nose up. And I'm using the brush tip because it's going to cover more ground quickly. Go up the back of his ear here, and then go around very carefully. If you need to pull up the bullet tip for this part, do that. I'm gonna go really slow because I don't want to mess him up. Even though I have some colored off to the side, I do want to use these for another project. So I'm gonna try to do my very best. We'll see. I don't want this video to be 3 hours long because I'm coloring. Okay, but we're just going to we're going to avoid his little center part right here and his little tail. We're going to make his tail a little white fluffy tail. So I'm just going to go through with my light, give this a good little wash of color. And we're going to come back in with the light too. So if it's not perfect, that's okay. All right, let's come in with the dark. And areas that I want to be dark, his little back leg over here, because it's in the shadow, is going to be dark. His little back arm is going to be dark. We're going to kind of go down his back side along the bottom a little bit, just like that. And then we're going to kind of do the same thing on his head. Just kind of make like a backward C. Up the back of his ear is going to be darker as well. So come back in with your light and just blend that color out. Do that on his face too. This is where you just want to go through, make sure that all of that color is nice and blended. Through his little hand. So we're just going to go back over the entire thing with the light, and as we're doing that, we're going to blend that dark color in. So this is where everything's going to get nice and smooth. I'm going to smooth everything out, and then if you still feel like it needs to be darker, you can go back in a little bit with the dark. Because the paper is so saturated right now, you really don't need to go back and blend it. It's just going to kind of blend itself. But isn't he cute, that little gray bunny? He is just so stinking cute. I love him. Okay, let's move on to our other little bunny. We're going to color him Crumb Cake, but we're going to do the same thing with our Petal Pink. So we're going to work on his ears up here. Now, if you notice on the box, we're going to put a little flower crown on this one. So the ears are mostly going to be covered, so don't stress too much about the ears. I'm going to come in with my dark Petal Pink again and give the little bunny some rosy little cheeks. With my light Petal Pink, we'll just finish off those ears. Just like that. Oh, and the dark Petal Pink I want on his the little pads of his feet. Just like that. Okay. All right, so that's it with our petal pink. Let's use our, what is this, crumb cake? Let's use our crumb cake. We're gonna start with the crumb cake light again. I'm gonna use my bullet tip this time. It is a bigger area, so I would prefer to use my brush tip, but my brush tip on this one, crumb cake's another one that I really need to probably replace, but so my brush tip's a little bit torn up. So I'm gonna just do this with my bullet tip the very best I can. And again, we're gonna leave his tummy white mostly. But we're gonna come through and we're going to just color around his the little pads on his feet. Okay. And we're gonna do his face. Let's go around his eyes carefully, or her eyes. Maybe this is a girl because she's got a flower crown. And I'm just gonna go kind of right under her chin. And we'll soften that in just a minute. Okay. Do the little face, up the ears, on both sides. Again, most of the top of her head and the ears are gonna be covered, so don't worry too much about that. All right. I'm gonna go just along the bottom a tiny bit with my light. And I'm gonna bring in my color lifter and we're just going to kind of soften those edges just a little bit while it's wet down to its belly, and that'll just kind of blend in. All right, with the dark, I'm gonna go around the bottom here where she's sitting. I'm gonna kind of go up the bottom of her feet just a little bit and do the same on this side. It's gonna be darker, up the sides of her belly there. Now, however you want to color these, that's perfectly fine. There's no right or wrong when it comes to Stampin' Blends or coloring. All right, now her little paw right here where it's overlapping, we're just going to do a little bit of color. And then I'm not going to worry about shading the top of her head too much because, again, that part's going to be covered. Come in back with your light crumb cake and just go ahead and blend all of this out. You can blend a little bit up into her face. Okay, and we'll do the other side. These little bunnies are just so cute, and I debated back and forth on whether or not I should get them, but the more I kept looking at them, the more I was like, yeah, I need those bunnies. They're too cute. And I tried to wait for the punch to get back in stock, but I couldn't wait any longer. I needed to get them. Okay, so that is our little crumb cake bunny. It's super cute, right? Okay, so let's go through and color our eggs and our flowers quickly. So starting with polished pink, this is going to be, I'm going to start with my light again. Polished pink light. This is, if you love this color, make sure you grab these blends before it retires. So we're going to color the center, this little rose one, and then I'm going to color one of the stripes on this little stripy egg here. With my dark, I'm just going to go in for that rose, just where the highlights are, and then just on either edge of that egg. I'm gonna come back in and blend those, just like that, and just a little touch up on the rose. And that's it for the polished pink. All right, I have Tahitian Tide next, and I'm gonna do my dark just on all of these little dots on the eggs. I'm not gonna do any blending on the eggs. And then for my flower over here, we're just going to color this the light Tahitian Tide. I'm not even going to do blending on this one. It's really too small of an area. All right, Parakeet Party for our leaves. And I'm going to start with the light. I'm just going to give all of my leaves a little color of Parakeet Party. So you can see how much coloring there is in this. Now, if you were making a bunch of these, I think I'd probably just sit down and do all the stamping and coloring, put on a movie or something, and then do all the box assembling later. Okay, dark Parakeet Party. I'm not going to do any blending, but I am just going to, along the veining of those leaves, just give a little brush of color. All right, light Fresh Freesia. This is another color that is slated to retire this year, so if you love Fresh Freesia, make sure you're stocking up on Fresh Freesia. All right, and then I'm going to do a whole wash of color on that egg. I'm actually going to turn it this way because I want to make sure I'm looking at this egg right side up, because we are going to do a little bit of blending on this. With the dark Fresh Freesia, just come along that left side and add in some dark along that left side. And then just blend that out. Okay, one more color and then we're done, guys. This one is quick. And I'm gonna bring back my dark petal pink real quick just to add some color to these little berries. Okay, all right. Dark Daffodil Delight for the center of all the flowers. Easy peasy. And then just a little bit of dark on the edges of those little, that swirly egg. And just bring in the light and just blend that out. Okay, that is all our coloring. That is it. Isn't that so super cute? Okay, now through the magic of television, I told you I already fussy cut them all, so you don't have to watch that. So let's, and I cut the eggs apart too. So I have 2 eggs on one egg on the other. But let's go ahead and get her little flower crown attached. I'm just gonna put a little line of liquid glue. You could use glue dots for this too. That would work well. And we're just going to stick this down just so it's nice and secure when we start moving it. But isn't that cute? All right, now let's talk about all these layers here. So I'm going to start with my white layer, and all of the measurements will be in the video description. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure I'm going to remember them. This is 4 3/4 by 2 1/4, but make sure to check the video description for all the measurements, or head to my blog. We're just going to add a little bit of color to this with our blending brushes and our ink. So this is Tahitian Tide, and we're just going to add a soft little sky. We're not going to make this too dark because we're going to stamp our greeting right on top of it, and so we don't want to make it too dark. So I'm just going to go along the top edge, kind of about halfway down my paper. And I have scrap paper underneath that I am starting my brush on. All right, and as long as this is out, let's go ahead and stamp our greeting. This is from the stamp set. It says an Easter treat for you. I'm not going to do it completely in the center. I'm going to go a little bit right of center. So super cute, an Easter treat just for you. Let's put our Tahitian Tide away, and we're going to bring in Parakeet Party. And we're going to do the same thing for the grass. Now a lot of this is going to get covered up because these little bunnies are going to take up some real estate on the bottom, but I want to make sure that we have a fun little ground for them to sit on just so they're not floating. So just go along the bottom with your blending brush, and there you have it. So that's all of the ink. So we are ready to completely assemble this thing. We are going to use dimensionals, of course. So let's put some dimensionals on the back of our bunnies. Peel those off so they're ready to go. Dimensionals on the back of this bunny. All right, so let's start with this one, our little gray one. He's going to go off to the side as close to the greeting as he can without covering it up. So like that. And then our little Crumb Cake bunny is also going to go pretty close to the greeting, like that. And I'm going to cut an edge piece for this little egg over here. I'm just going to put the dimensional right next to his foot. And peel that off, and we're going to put the little stripy egg right there. And then I'm going to cut just another little edge piece for this one. And we're going to stick this on, peel that backing off, and we'll stick this one right in front of that little bunny. So isn't that sweet? So cute, right? All right, move those out of the way for just a second. I'm going to stick some Stampin' Seal Plus behind this one, and we're going to stick it to a piece of crumb cake that is just 1/8 of an inch bigger. Again, I'm going to put this underneath so it doesn't blend in with my desk. Check the video description for the measurements on these. Isn't that cute? All right, we're popping this up, of course. And I'm just going to grab some of the edge pieces here. Grab this one. Okay, let's pop this up. And before we adhere that down to our Daffodil Delight piece, I'm just going to add adhesive to this, and we're going to stick this onto our box. You can use dimensionals for this too. I mean, this is a box. You can really stack this up as much as you want. Again, check the video description for all of these measurements. I'm going to stick that on. I'm going to stick our little bunny piece on. Isn't this so stinking cute? You could just make this a card too. Do the same techniques. Put this on the front of a card and you'd be golden. All right, finishing touches. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool, and we're going to add some iridescent rhinestones. These are in the annual catalog. They are some of my favorite embellishments. They kind of pick up the color of everything around them, so it really makes them shine. So I put a big one over here. I'm I'm gonna put another big one here, little one right next to it. Okay, and then put the top up here, add one here and one up here. And that finishes our sweet little cake box. Let me move everything out of the way and pull these in. Aren't they adorable? I just love them. And I think these would be a perfect little addition to any Easter basket this year. Really for those super special people, because this box is really too cute to make 1,000 of, I promise. But they are so super cute. I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you guys love the bunnies? I'd love to know. Please leave a comment in the video description. Please share this video with your friends. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out. And that means you never miss a video. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will be live this Sunday in my VIP group. There's a link in my VIP to join my Facebook VIP group. It'll be my final Sunday for my 20th anniversary celebration, and I have another really fun card to share with you guys. Make sure that you don't miss that live. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.